right, welcome everybody. Welcome to another drawing lesson. Today we are going to draw some plants, and we're going to start by practicing doing our warm-up drawing, and then we'll get into doing some replication of some images, and then do a final drawing of a variety of different plants. So excited for what we're going to create today. Good to see you all. Everybody has their drawing pencil or pen, and you've got your piece of paper, and you're ready to go. All right, we're going to jump right in today because we've got lots to do. So grab your pencil and paper. All right. In a little bit, we will have Harry come out. Harry's going to do some drawings with us today. He had to run to the store, so he's picking something up. And as soon as he gets back, we'll have him join us. But for now, I want you to start doing some circles. Do some bigger circles. Again, we're practicing, getting better and better and stronger. Warming our wrist and our fingers up. All right, now I'm going to do some oval shapes. So this is going to be important for today's drawing. So I want you to do skinny oval shapes. And you can see how this might already look like a plant. All right, now let's do some lines. I'm going to have you do small lines today. Tiny short lines, really close together. So this can work with a pencil or a pen. You just want to get comfortable making consistent lines. You see how they kind of create a row? This will be really important when we do the plant drawing later today. So tiny little lines, all in a row. Now I want you to try to do the same thing, but in a circular pattern. So tiny little lines moving in a circle. So kind of combining the two practices together. See that? All right, I think we are ready to start doing our first drawing. You feel warmed up? All right, let's get a different piece of paper. I'm going to show you a video. And I mentioned earlier that the drawing today is based on replication. So when you're thinking about doing a drawing, I want you to think about two different types of ways to start. You can either do something from your imagination, which is what, if you've been watching these lessons in the past, they've primarily been about what's in your imagination. Because last week, we just started to get into a little bit of replication. Replication is when you look at something else and you try to create that image based on someone else and how they created the image. So this is a really excellent way to advance your precision in your art, because you're learning the nuances of what an image can look like. When you're creating from your imagination, it's really fun, and you're able to push a creative boundary, and you're able to come up with new and fresh ideas. And then to learn how to build your craft, starting from a place where you've actually got something in front of you. So replication could be looking at a picture like we're doing here. Replication could be looking at a still life or something on your table. It could be drawing a person in front of you. It could be drawing a masterpiece from a previous artist. You're replicating what they did. And if you replicate a masterpiece, say a drawing from Michelangelo, I would encourage you to try to match every stroke and try to live in the world that Michelangelo lived and recreate his drawing stroke by stroke. It's a fantastic way to be able to learn how the masters did it, and you're going to grow exponentially when you do this method. So, what we're going to do today is we're going to look at a couple drawings on the screen, and then we are going to replicate them. All right, so we're going to draw the leaf that's in the upper left-hand corner. So we're going to draw the flower that's in the upper left-hand corner. We're going to draw the stem as it moves up to the left. And I'm just going to add some dots so we know roughly where the flower structure is going to be. And so there's a second flower on the right. We're going to draw that stem behind the other flower. And it has three little offshoots. And we're going to add some dots at this one too. Again, just kind of placing the overall structure. That way we know the overall size and dimension. So we get our proportions right. Now the stem has a little thickness to it. So we're going to draw a second line, just a little bit away from the other line, to show some of that thickness in the stem. And then darkening at the bottom of it to show that it was cut. And there is also some dimension there. And then adding that same secondary line on the rest of the stem. And then adding some shadow below where the flowers are. Now there is some shading we can put on the left-hand side, just tiny, slight little dots or tiny little strokes, and that'll help the stem to have some dimension and feel like there is some sunlight shining on the right-hand side. So we'll do that on both of these stems. Now I'm going to start to add in little circles for the flowers. I'm going to start on the left-hand side, and I'm going to be a little bit darker because that'll be the part that's more in the shadow, because the sun is going to be over on the upper right-hand side. And so there's going to be a higher concentration of those small little flowers. And then as we move to the right, we'll start spacing them out a little bit more so it feels brighter and lighter on the right-hand side. This can feel a little monotonous, but just try to relax and have fun and enjoy the process of making tiny little circles as the flower moves across to the right-hand side. So this flower has three shapes within it, three larger circles. And so on the left-hand side of each of those shapes, I'm going to make it a little bit darker. And that's going to help it feel more like a sphere or more like a round shape of a flower. So you can see how on the left-hand side, it's a little bit darker. And then I'm going to add a lighter touch on the right-hand side. So while it looks like a really complex flower, you can see you can make it look just like the drawing on the right, just by adding those little circles in and just being careful and paying attention to where the shadow is and the light is. So just looking through at some other flowers that we have and some ferns and leaves. So let's practice doing another one. So again, starting with the stem, and this will create the overall movement of the leaf. So you can do whatever kind of movement you want, but ultimately, look who's here. It's our little fuzzy friend Fiddle. Hey Fiddle, you having a good day? Say hi to everybody. Look, we're doing a drawing lesson today. Do you want to help out? No? You just want to walk around? You want to walk on my drawing? Yeah, all right. Well, I think you have to say goodbye, but thanks for joining us for a little bit. All right. Have a good day. Bye, Fiddle. Bye, Fiddle. Say goodbye to your friends. Thanks for coming today. Can't wait to see the end product. All right. Bye-bye, Fiddle. All right. Surprise visit from our kitty cat friend. Maybe someday it would be fun to draw a kitty cat. Maybe we should do that next week. Would that be fun? You can put a comment down below if you want to learn how to draw a kitty cat. I know we had a request last week to draw some planes and trucks, so that's going to be in an upcoming episode too. And actually today's drawing was a request from one of our artists. They wanted to learn how to draw a bird of paradise, so we're going to do that in a little bit today too. All right, so make that thickness here on the right hand side of that stem. Give it that dimension. And I'm just going to flip back and look at the picture. And you can see how the leaf has these veins that come out from the center, and the veins are symmetrical on both sides. So wherever there's one on the right, there's one on the left. So it's important to capture that piece. So draw the outside line of the shape of the leaf. You also notice in the stem, I didn't make it a solid line on the right hand side. There's some gaps there, and that helps it to make it feel like the light is hitting that right hand side. You can see the light's shining down, so it's going to be brighter on this side of the leaf. So we're probably going to space out some of the veins there a little bit extra, so it's not as dark of an area. But on the far right hand side, we can have the veins be a little bit closer and a little bit darker. And that'll make it feel like it's more in the shadow on the right hand side. So now I'll space them out a little bit wider here. You can see it just gives it a little bit of a lighter feeling. Now we'll go a little closer again, make it feel like if that side is really turning away from the sun. You can see how the top part now feels like there's real shape and movement in the leaf. This picture doesn't have it. It's more of a flat image. But by doing that subtle approach, it makes it feel like it's really standing up off the ground. All right, so now we're going to match those veins on the other side. I'm going to move them out and curve them as we make the line. So they're not exactly straight. That's going to help the leaf to have some curvature. But I am matching the symmetry. So where there are veins on the right, there's veins on the left. And again, spreading them out, causing it to feel like there's a little bit more light shining on that area. And now I'm going to curve it in the other direction, which will make it feel like, again, it's bending. All right, so you can see there the sun is really shining on that leaf. And we're going to darken the right side of the stem down below. You can see how that makes it feel like it's got more substance. And we can do some cross hatching here on the bottom right. That'll add some more shadow to the far right side. Just a little bit. Makes it feel like it's curving away from the sun. And we'll do it over here as well. And plants are a great thing to draw. They're all around us, and they have just great organic lines and movement, and you really can get kind of messy with a leaf or with a flower. It doesn't have to be so exact. A lot of these lines are moving in lots of different directions and lots of different fun shapes, and you can create whatever your imagination says. Let's let your imagination go wild. It's like the bird of paradise here. It is a wild looking flower, and so you can create whatever kind of flower you want. But let's go ahead and draw this birds of paradise. So we're going to pull the stem up. It's a much thicker stem, comes up into a larger mass at the top and goes to a point that looks almost like a bird's beak. And so we'll draw a lower line, giving it that thickness, and then it starts to curve out and gets really thick and up to the point of the bird's beak. I think it's a bird's beak. I don't know. What do you think? Where do you think the bird is in this bird of paradise? So there's a couple other little shapes here that we can grab and pull out. Also goes to a point. And then one more thin little line. And they both follow the overall curve of the shape of the birds of paradise. Now we're going to do the leaves or the feathers almost that are spraying out. So we're going to draw those as if they're wings of the bird flying out. And you can do whatever shape you want. I'm just going to roughly copy what we have here on the right hand side, but you can make it look however you want it to look. The feathers could be moving in different directions. One thing that is helpful here is when you put the second and third leaves back behind, it helps it make it feel like it's moving into the distance. And so that overlapping helps to make it so that the leaves feel like some are in front and some are behind. Now I'm drawing over top of the previous leaf. That's okay. This is just practice, but I don't mind it too. You can just be creative and have fun. This is all just a journey of discovery. We're just learning how do we see the world around us and how do we make it come to life on a piece of paper. So you can see each of these leaves or feathers are sitting behind the other one. And you can draw as many as you want or as few as you want. And now let's go ahead and add in some of the veining that's here. So you can see this one has a little bit of a curve on the left-hand side, and we'll add some of those veins or shadow behind it. It makes it feel like it's curving, like you could reach your hand inside of it. And then we'll add some veining just lightly to the ones behind it as well, and then add a little bit of a shadow so that it stands apart from the one behind it. This is such a fun flower. I've seen them on trips to Hawaii, and I've drawn some of them there in person, and they're just strikingly beautiful. And the amount of mass that the flower holds, it's really quite remarkable. So just keep drawing these lines in, add in some texture, some movement. You can see this not so precise. It's just a matter of making it feel like there's a actual texture on top of each of the leaves. And add in some shadow and some cross hatching, help push some of those that are further back. You can just keep going with the shadow. And some more shadow here. You can really see it's really starting to come to life. It looks like it's a flower that's just going to jump right off the page. So we've got some recommendations for the future of some drawings to do, but if you have any requests, feel free to drop them in the comment. I'd love to hear what you guys want to share. And also please send me your images. I'd love to see what you guys are creating. All right, so we're going to add some shadow to the lower part of the main structure of the flower. That really helps to round it out. And we'll add some shadow to these other parts of the flower. And down the stem as well. All right, there you go. We have our 3 different kind of plants. And now we're going to take our practice work and put it together and make a final drawing out of it. All right, you're pretty warmed up and ready to go? All right, so I'm going to start with a fresh new piece of paper. And I'm going to put these flowers into a pot. So I'm going to draw the top lip of the pot and curve the rim around. And so the flowers are all going to be inside of this pot. And I'm going to draw the sides of the pot. And move this up so you can see, and then curve the bottom. I'm going to start with the sun over here. And so that means the far left-hand side under the rim is going to be darkest. Add some cross-hatching lines, some shadow to the left side of the pot and then the rim. And remember, leave a little halo on the far left side as that sun wraps around the pot. You see that little bit of sunlight wrapping around, and then it's going to get darker as it moves to the right. And then the sun then wraps around on the right-hand side as well. And wherever the shadow is on the vase, there's also going to be shadow on the ground. So we're going to draw the contact shadow right below the pot. And then a little bit of a shadow pulling out from where the sun is blocked by the vase. All right, now it's time to draw the flowers and the leaves. So you can start to visualize where you want the leaves to go, which leaf you want to put into the pot. And again, get as creative as you want here. You can do some that we practice. You can create some new ones. You guys, when you create your drawings and send them to me, you get so creative, and it's so wonderful to see. All right, so I'm just roughing out some dots and lines here, just so I can kind of place where I think each of the leaves are going to go. It just helps me to understand what the final picture will look like, and I start to develop it in my mind and kind of start to map it out just using some dots on the page. You don't have to do this. You can just start drawing and just start putting some leaves on the page, but I want to make sure that there's a nice composition when you look at the page. All right, let's start with our first stem coming up over to the right. I'm going to add a second line to it right here, and then it's going to curve behind and drop down into the vase. You can see how that little line there makes it feel like it's kind of spinning or turning away from you. Right, do another one here where again the top little bit curls in and then drops behind the other leaf. Use that overlapping so it feels like it's pushing behind, and you can see how we're just having fun. We're just drawing these lines and we are getting creative, and we'll see how this drawing turns out. So add some shadow in here. I'm gonna put some dirt inside the pot right over here and drop that behind. A little bit more shadow on the vase. And now we're going to draw that center vein line. Comes up and curls around. And add that second line to show the thickness. And now we'll start to pull out the veins from the center. And they're kind of curving with the leaf. This is important because it helps to tell the viewer where the shape is moving, and it really starts to make that curvature move up, around, and then away, and then back. And we'll add some cross-hatching shadow here, drop it down a little bit, make it feel like it's moving into the vase. All right, so let's put some other flowers in here. Let's see some of these other references we have. Let's look at some of these other reference pictures and pick one that we want to put in here. I really like this big one with, it's like a fern, all of the different leaves coming off, and there's lots of movement and it's really dramatic. So I think we're going to put that one right here in the middle. And I'm going to draw the center stem. I forgot to put that center line on this leaf here that curls around. And then we'll put some shadow here so you can see that it really spins around. And then add some shadow on the bottom section too. All right, we'll continue adding each of these leaves, drawing the stem all the way up. And then attach another one to the side. And then put one over here as well. You can see I'm just curving the lines around, having fun. It can be creative. It can do whatever you want with the lines. It could be long or thin or wide. Just keep adding them in. Something fun to do is go on a walk and find some leaves or find some flowers. You can bring them home and then press them in between some books and flatten them. It's a great way to be able to look at those leaves later on and then draw them. So I'm dropping these leaves behind the other one. It makes it feel like it's pushing back into the distance. So before we get too far down, I'm going to put some other leaves in the front here. So I'm going to do one really large leaf swooping down around to the left-hand side. It's going to curve all the way around and a fun little bottom on the left-hand side. And then we'll start drawing those veins and we'll just wrap them around. Make this feel like it's really curving around. So all of these waves are contour lines. They help to show the contour of the shape. So I'm doing on the other side as well. And you can see how it's a very aggressive curve that I'm putting on it, and it makes it feel like the leaf has a lot of shape. It's really moving. And we'll start to add some shadow on the left side. It's kind of underneath the leaf. And just keep that shadow going. Keep that cross-hatching shadow going on the far right side as well. And you're just kind of following the contour lines with the shadow. You don't need a lot, just a little bit. It really starts to help kind of show how it curves. And then add the rest of the stem, dropping into the vase. And then darken that line a little bit. Add some shadow onto the actual stem. All right, we're going to do another leaf here in the center. This one will be fairly close to the front and be similar to this other leaf that we have here. Pop up straight up, and then we'll add that center stem line and add the second line to the left of it. And then we'll start to add in another leaf on the left-hand side. So this one's behind this other one. And then over here, we're going to put our birds of paradise. So we're going to drop in the stem there so we know where that's going to go. And we're going to have it face the other direction. So you can get creative here. You don't have to do the exact same drawing I'm doing. So I'm going to have the birds of paradise looking over to the left-hand side up to the point of the beak. And then add some shadow to the stem. And going back to this other leaf, we're going to add that center line there. And then add the second line to the left of it, a little bit darker. And then add some shadow cross-hatching lines to drop that leaf behind. And add in the back side of the vase and add some more dirt in the bottom so they feel like they're grounded, like they're sticking into something. And then add some more cross-hatching shadow. All right, let's work on the birds of paradise now. So we're going to start to add in all these other little features, just like we did in practice. Just darkening it up there, adding a little bit of a dimension to the line, and then coming up and doing some of these feather leaves. And dropping some behind the others. And then we're going to add a little bit of texture, a little bit of vein lines to each of the leaves. And just keep adding them to each one, and helping to push back into the distance. Add some more vein lines to these. And add some more shadow to the leaves in the distance. And now we're going to add the final shadow to the bottom section of the Birds of Paradise flower. And do some cross hatching here to darken it. All right. There we go. There's our finished drawing. I'm going to add a couple more leaves here just to make it drop behind the rest of the drawing. We'll do them on both sides here. And add a little bit of shadow here. And there we have it, our finished flower drawing. So you could also highlight this with some ink lines if you wanted to. You could add some color to it. And it would be a beautiful picture to put up on your wall. Go ahead and send me a photo of it. I'd love to see what you created. And let's go see if we can find Harry. Great job today, everybody. Thanks for coming. I appreciate you. Send me your photos. I want to see them. Like and subscribe. Share this with your friends. Have them join these free educational classes so everybody can learn how to draw. Make sure you practice your circles, your lines. Practice some eyes, noses, and mouths. Come up with your own special style. And then we're going to see you next week. And now we're going to kick off and look at some other pictures that you sent for me from the previous week. Wow. Yeah, take a photo, send it over to us so we can see your drawings. Harry wants to see it. All right, everybody, it's time to go. I know, it's a sad time, but the day is done and the drawing's over. So we need to say goodbye. But keep practicing, drawing every day. Add in the square, fill in the whole picture. Send it to me. I'd love to see it. You guys have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next week. All right, bye, everybody. Ah. Good job, kids. Thanks for sending in your pictures. They look really awesome. We were so excited to get them. They were really great, yeah? Yeah, it was really, really fun. All right, we're going to put some up here for you. Different pictures for you guys to celebrate and recognize your friends. Thanks for watching today, everybody. You all did a good job. Make sure you put some comments down below. If there's other pictures that you want to see, put it down below. We can draw anything we want. You just let me know, and I can teach you how to draw it. Make sure you also give a thumbs up. Subscribe if you like the video.